Alright, welcome back to another video. We are in the Open Create League, and we have a different team to showcase today. We have the Registeel paired with the Azumarill and Cofagrigus. The opponent switches to the Charjabug, which is interesting. This Charjabug is really good against our Azumarill, so we don't want to switch that, obviously. It's going to do decent against our Cofagrigus, as the Cofagrigus just has big charge moves. So we're gonna decide to stay in here. We're going to play it out. We're going to go for this Focus Blast here. It does get shielded, which is good for us. We're going to try to get to another Focus Blast. Our opponent ends up throwing the Discharge here right when we get the move. They actually had two of them, which was really good for them. They had the, what is that, a Carbink in the back here. So we're going to throw this Focus Blast and then switch into our Azumarill. We are able to tank all the moves from this Carbink here. And we're going to throw this Play Rough right here. It's either going to get some big damage or it's going to get a shield. So they decide to let it go, and we're looking for the farm down. We do get the farm down. We know that they still have the Charjabug. We know that they still have Skarmory. Now we have to make sure we get this Skarmory as low as possible so that we can try to farm it down with like a Cofagrigus, or maybe we catch a move or something. So there we go. We do end up catching a move on our Registeel. We did get the Brave Bird. Our opponent ends up getting to a Discharge here with a Charjabug, and luckily for us, this Skarmory should be taken down with two Dark Pulses right here, as we are stacked on two Dark Pulses. So GG's to our opponent right there, able to wiggle out of a Skarmory lead. Our opponent right there played it pretty well. I'm not sure what else they could have done, because they actually did a really good job with their Charjabug and getting both of our shields. All right, so Lantern in the front here. We have to play this out like we just talked about. Azumarill does not want to see this Lantern or any electric types. We're going to go for this Zap Cannon here. We don't get the debuff, but it does good damage. So this allows us to get to a Focus Blast right here to potentially do some big damage or get a shield. We do get the shield. Our opponent ends up deciding to throw this Thunderbolt right here to take out this Registeel, and then we have no choice but to go in with our Cofagrigus. The idea here is to farm as much as possible. We shielded that one so that we can pressure the Dark Pulse on the next one. Our opponent hasn't switched out yet, so we are thinking that this Cofagrigus is pretty decent against their team. We're going to go for the Shadow Ball here. We want the shield or big damage. And crazy enough, this Cofagrigus was able to get to a Shadow Ball and a Dark Pulse before they got to their own move. So we had to get the last shield from our opponent. Our opponent ends up staying in, so that tells us this Azumarill is looking pretty good right now. So we're going to shield here. And then they have the Clocksire in the back here. Now, because that they're one really to switch out, we are anticipating that they don't have Sludge Bomb. Otherwise, this would be a great situation, or better situation. But moment of truth here, let's see if they end up throwing no Sludge Bomb. So this all but tells us that it was the Earthquake Stone Edge version. So GG's to our opponent right there. We just had the Azumarill in the back that they couldn't handle. They actually had the double counters to the Lantern weakness in the back there. So very interesting team. Here we have the Charjabug again. This Charjabug is always a pain. Oh, we do get the debuff, and then we get swapped out into the Talonflame. So we go into our Azumarill here. This Azumarill here is able to tank any of the first moves, so we don't shield it. We're gonna go for this Ice Beam right here. It does neutral and it chunks away at the Talonflame health. Our opponent ends up going for the boosted Fly, and now our Azumarill is low enough so that this Charjabug is looking for a farm down. So much so that we aren't able to get to another Ice Beam right there, which is terrible for us. Our opponent switches out into their Wish Cache while we have the Cofagrigus. They do get the Skull debuff, which is not good for us. However, we do get a shield from our opponent, which is pretty good. And now we know what we have to do. We have to take out this Wish Cache as soon as possible because it's going to be pretty spammy and we don't want to use all of our Registeel energy. Okay, our opponent ends up switching back into their Charjabug here. This Charjabug is going to be chipping away at this Registeel. Even these X Scissors, I mean, even though they're resisted, they're doing a pretty decent job. Okay, so we are unfortunately left in a situation where we have to try to undercharge here and farm it down so that we can possibly get a move to go off because that Wishcast was already going to have a move. So GG's to our opponent right there. Tricky endgame right there. Couldn't quite undercharge correctly to end off with a move to throw at that Wishcast. Having issues finding players this early on. But next game we find is a Kingdra lead. Okay, interesting. Kingdra, we're going to stay in. This Kingdra is going to have to tank a Zap Cannon. We do get the debuff with the Zap Cannon, so we know for sure we're not going to shield here. They go for the Akazuka. We don't get that debuff right there. And our opponent ends up throwing another Akazuka, so we're going to save all the energy on the Reggie and switch into our Cofagrigus. Our opponent ends up having Trevenant in the back. Trevenant in the back. It's going to be a problem if we aren't able to take this out. We have the Azu in the back. But if we can get shields down, we'll have a better chance in dealing with this Trevenant. So we do get the shield. We're going to shield right here to force them to switch out. Our opponent ends up having the Stunfisk right here. Unfortunately, it is the Unova Stunfisk, which is better against our Azumarill. We've tanked 2 discharges right here, so next discharge will take us out, but we're going to throw this Ice Beam right here to do a good chunk of damage. Luckily for us, we are able to get to another Ice Beam here to take out this Stunfisk, and now we're just forcing our opponent to use some energy because we were very close to another Ice Beam right there. So GG's to our opponent. Well played by us right there, figuring out that end game. If you want to think about it another way as well, we have the Registeel and we have 2 anti-fighters in the back. So here we have no choice but to switch into the Azumarill. The Azumarill is met with a Leafeon, interesting enough. Leafeon here is going to be able to throw super effective grass moves. So we're going to shield here. Oh, they actually had 2, which is fine. We are able to survive 1. And now we're going to see if they are going to invest any shields. As you can see, we overfarmed a little bit. We do get a shield from our opponent. And because it's so low, we can double shield here and flip the switch. Our opponent ends up revealing that they have the Ninetales. So this Ninetales, we're going to have to switch into the Registeel. We tank a Weather Ball pretty easily right there. Our opponent goes back into their Skeledrid. Their Skeledrid here is able to throw super effective fast moves. We do get the Zap Cannon off. Unfortunately, it is a debuff, which allows them to get an extra Incinerate, which is not good for us. So even though we got the debuff, it actually was not the right timing of it. And then now we're going to try to race to a move, and unfortunately, we do not get to this Dark Pulse right here. That one extra Incinerate that they got because we got the debuff actually came in clutch for them. Our opponent is going to be able to get to another Weather Ball here to take out our Cofagrigus, and that's GG's right there. So check out this team if you haven't already. Let us know if you enjoyed the video.